Well, are you ready to work on our table mat some more? Here we go. This is going pretty fast, actually. Of course, these stitches are not small. They're large stitches, so that helps to speed it up. But I'm so looking forward to having this new mat to use and it being larger and actually holding everything I want to put on it. You know, so much, since I do have an Etsy shop, so much of the things that I make, of course, go into that shop. And sometimes it's hard to let go of certain things but you know, I can't keep everything if I want to run a little business. So that's the downside of that. But, and I'll tell you, the cost of living anymore, seems like everybody in the family's got to work to make it happen. So here we go. This one has a little kink in it. Let's go across here. Okay, here we go. As I said in my first video, if you know anybody that is an absolute beginner in hand sewing, slow stitching, whatever, this is a good project for them to try because it's so forgiving and beginner friendly. So if you know anybody like that, well, tell them about the video. They might want to jump in and try this project themselves. Okay. You can definitely be more picky about what colors and patterns of scraps you use. When I'm doing real scrappy, I don't like to do that. And I like to just grab whatever there is. And so that's what I did with these scraps. A couple I had to cut down to a little bit more manageable size, but most of the time they're pretty small to start with. I'm going to actually make 3 passes over, 3 layers over this as I go before I finish. So you'll want to hang in there and see what each of those layers comprise of. I think I have a green there already. I think I'm going to do this, or might do this one. I have one like it over here. I think I'd do it that way. It's a nice color. Get down here where I find my next piece. Tell me what part of the world you live in. I'd love to know who my fellow stitchers are. And if you haven't heard me say by now, I live in Northeast Texas, USA. So in the south part of the United States. Okay, my thread's getting pretty low, so let me in this one and grab another color. I think I have one already. Yes, I have one more loaded. Then I'm gonna have to stop and load them up again. Okay. Wonderful way to use your scraps of threads if you have them laid out like I do somewhere. Use them up. Sometimes, you know, I take the time to wind them back on the little things, but most of the time I just hang them over my light, and then they're right there. I can't forget them, and I can use them up, which I like that idea. I really didn't mean to go all the way down this one before I added, but this is Scrappy. Mistakes are allowed. Okay, let's back it up to there. We need to come right there. Okay. If you watched the first one, I hope you grabbed some, the first video on this, hope you grabbed some scraps and are working along with me. That's the really fun part of doing YouTube videos for me, is just the idea that someone out there is actually stitching along with me, and could be on their own project, and it could be on the one I'm doing, but the fact is I'm not alone, and I have company. That's a good feeling. I was going to get a second cup of coffee, but then I thought, I might get a little too wired, so I better not do that. Let's try. Oh, I have a nice little piece of brown here that looks good, but it's probably a little more. There you go. I think that'll work good. Another thing about doing very scrappy, when you're working with cottons, like these scraps here are basically quilt quality cottons. They will fray on any raw edges over time will fray, and since these table mats that I make, I throw them in the wash machine and dryer. I don't put anything on them that they can't be washed and dried. And so they will fray, and that just kind of adds to the look of the Scrappy anyway. Now, as I said, I'm going to basically pass over this 3 times. So this foundation is the first. Then I will be using 2 other types of fabric to add some diversity. When I get through with the whole thing, then I may come back and add additional stitching. It'll just depend on what I think I need at that time. But what I was saying, I'm not afraid for the any of the edges if they're left raw to fray, because that just adds to the scrappy look. Okay, I'm going to drop down, I think. Let's go this way. I'm going to drop down and catch this one. Okay, let's see. Sometimes if you tend to have a lot of scraps, now I don't take the time to organize my scraps. They're just in bags, boxes, totes, pails, whatever. And when I get ready to do a project, if I'm looking for something specific, then I will start pulling and organizing for that project. But otherwise, I don't take that time because it would take a lot of time. I have a lot of scraps. But sometimes I will, if I'm just don't have very much time, just have a few minutes, I will grab a bag and cut some of those scraps into more manageable pieces. And so that helps sometimes to do that. For instance, if you're going to make a couple, 3 of these for gifts, you know ahead of time that you need some manageable sized scraps to work with. So that would be a good thing to do, and then you'd already be ready with that. Let's see. I'm about ready to have to load up another needle here. About ready to run out of my scrap of yarn. Like I said, don't worry if everything isn't caught. We're going to have 2 more layers on this and before it's finished, so it doesn't have to be perfect this round. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to load up another needle. Let's see what we have here. I do have some red up here, or pink, I should say, and it's in 4 strands, so let's split that, get it down to 2. It's a long piece. I love working with longer pieces, but they catch and knot and do all that kind of stuff more, but they sure keep you from having to stop and load needles so often. Okay, we're back to pink. I think that's what we started with. was pink. Let's we're about to cover our batting here. Of course, I will tell you that each layer that goes on gets a little thicker, and it does take a little bit more muscle to get your needle through everything. That's when, you know, right now I'm doing a running stitch, but as things get thicker, then you start doing the down and then back up from the back. Okay, now I want to put that one in there like that. Got some wonky colors here, don't I? Okay, let's see here. Gonna have to find another piece to go through there. That's just barely wide enough. What if I got something different? Maybe this piece of gray would be all right. Not gray, what I'm talking about, tan. That will close it down. Okay. What's your favorite kind of fabric to work with? I can't say that I really have a favorite. It's whatever fabric, for me, it's whatever fabric will give me the look and feel that I want for the project I'm working at the time. Yeah, that could be a piece of silk, a piece of burlap, a piece of cotton, whatever it takes to do what I think needs to be done. And so, but just for probably just general sewing, a quilting quality cotton to me is nice to work with. It feels good, it's substantial, your needle works well with it. You don't have to struggle a lot. I think we'll just go around and get these down while I'm here, since I've still got enough thread on this needle to do that. It does take a lot of stitching to secure everything because, again, like I said, I intend to be able to wash this when it gets dusty and dirty, and so so I don't want pieces coming off. I don't mind if they're fray, but I don't want them coming off, so it does take quite a bit of stitching. Now on this base layer we have only used scrap fabric, in my case quilting cottons, but in the next layer we're going to be using scrap ribbon. I hope you save your scraps of ribbon when you're working with it on your projects, or you're wrapping packages if you're using fabric-based ribbons, to save those little pieces when you get gifts, to save your ribbons if they're usable in a project. Now totally paper, no, I don't save that, but I do save the ones that are fabric-based. And we will be using up some of those scraps on this second layer here. Okay. Now in fact, we're going to grab one of those right now. I've got some ribbon in here, and we're going to grab a piece, and we're going to start placing it in chunks. And the ribbon that I place down, I will sew all the way around each piece. And that is going to start catching some of those raw edges that were left. This is like a ribbon lace. I had quite a bit of it. It's not a color that I use a whole lot just on its own, but it's a great accent for things like this. Not only does it give me a different texture, the color is pretty itself. So as you can see, I have a container of just threads. I think I showed it to you before, but all kinds of threading that I save, that I do use. And I have a container of ribbon pieces, as well as my normal scraps. I have a couple of containers of crumbs, and crumbs, I mean really tiny pieces of this, that, and whatever. So I have lots of little things to choose from. I have also a container of broken and old and used jewelry that I can take apart and use in my projects. Now mostly that goes into jewelry pieces that I might make. I don't incorporate a lot of that kind of stuff in my just slow stitching. For one thing, It's not practical on a lot of items that you want to be able to clean or wash. Okay, about to go around the edges of that. I got that one tacked down securely, and I need to load up another needle. This is since I'm going to be jumping around on this piece, your thread has to be long enough to reach, and this one's not. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, we have that one on there. Now, I don't like the feel of that one. This is a wire-based ribbon. It's wired, so I'm going to pull the wire out. Now, what I do with my wire is I save it because I do wire elements at times, and that's a perfect little wire to do that with. So I save these little pieces of wire, and then I don't have to buy it. Just wrap it around. Now I have a little drawer in front of me where I put all my little wires. They're there when I need them. Okay, let's find another raw piece that's in need of a little help. Okay. We've got one definitely there, one there. So let's put that one there. And then let's audition another piece or two where we have definitely one there. So we're gonna put him down there. And we have another one here. We have one there, one there, one there. We have two up here we could catch like that. Where's my pins? There they are. So we'll pin this one in. Pin this one in. And remember, this is our second pass with the ribbon pieces. Just using ribbon scraps. Don't go get new ribbon. Just use some ribbon scrap. Cut little pieces off of it. Stick them somewhere where they need to be. As you can tell, it's adding more diversity, more color, more different textile. Tactile, feel, because everything has a different feel to it. Let's see, where do I want this? I think I might put that one over there. I'm not worried about them being perfectly symmetrical. I'm going to sew around all of that, so that's going to keep it from fraying out, you might say. This is another one that's wired. So we'll pull that wire out of there. When you're doing a jewelry piece, let's say you want to do a little beading, but it's very little. You maybe only want a little short thing. Putting the beads on the wire, then shaping that bead, the little line of beads the way you want it, and then sewing that in. It's a lot easier than just trying to bead it with a needle and everything. It's a lot faster. So that's really handy for that. I'm going to cut the edges of this one off. It's pretty thick. And I'm going to cut it in half lengthways and give me a little different feel out here. Okay. I think I need something over here. What have I got that I haven't used already? Let's see. Oh, there's a little silver. You know, that one's wired too. I'm getting a lot of wire today. It's okay. I'll use it. I'll make a video one of these days and show you how I use all these little wires. As you can tell, I don't throw nothing away. Let's use a little bit of glitz. You know what? I was going to cut it, but I think, you know what? I think I'll just leave it whole. Okay, that is ready for the second sewing of all of these pieces on. And all of these pieces, like this first one, I will be sewing around each of these ribbon pieces to make sure I secure the ribbon, because it's going to fray usually more than the cotton is. Okay, and then you'll have to stay tuned to see what my third layer will be on here. Okay, all right, till next time, you stay scrappy happy. Bye-bye.